People are very strange. Each and everyone is unique. Even living for a little while among them is enough for you to notice this. Everyone who watches this video was born among them. But when we look at the bigger picture, they are actually all the same. People call this timeline where they are active from their first to last breath on the only little planet they have adapted to, life. This process that they call life is so different for all of them that it has driven them into an incredibly large variety. This variety also brought complexity. People who are such a complex being are so difficult to understand that there are many people who cannot even understand themselves. It is impossible to see a lion saying, "Why am I eating meat?" But you will find a person saying, "What am I doing in this life?" So, how do we understand humanity? Such a question naturally pushes us to the question, what is life? Here, too, humanity tried to find answers with philosophy. But since everyone's life is different, the meaning of life naturally differs for everyone. It is almost impossible to find meaning among such confusion. I really tried it. Each time it got deeper and more complicated. So, instead of going deep, I tried going up. Here I saw the big picture. In fact, understanding people is not about getting to know them closely, it is about watching them from a distance. If there is too much confusion that you cannot make sense of, take a step back and simply look at it from a distance. There is only one reason for all this mess: ego. Life is actually not that complicated, but man's ego is too much to admit that he came here without a purpose. We always tend to make a meaning. Actually, when I look at humankind, I can understand his ego. It has become the most advanced creature of the huge planet, even the solar system, in such difficult conditions. But the places where this ego is directed to is strange to me, when all he has to do is to make the best of the average life that he has. So now, let's take a step back and look at humanity. First of all, everyone has a goal. In some periods of our lives, we may not have purpose, which makes us feel empty. There are a lot of questions about feeling empty. I will come to this at another time. These purposes are the things that guide human life. From now on, I will continue by using the project metaphor. Let's think of our life as a project. Each project is established with a purpose. This goal differs for each project. But before starting this project, it is necessary to provide what is necessary to achieve its goal. This must be found on the basis of adolescence. That is, until the character begins to recognize himself. This foundation is the most important part of the project, because many projects end at this point because they cannot provide sufficient requirements. Yes, the ending of the project means the end of life, but oddly enough, man does not live a single life. Multiple and simultaneous lives are experienced in the average life of a person. I guess that's something complexity brings, but still, the desired and established project ends. This is an important enough point. The natural breakthrough of this foundation takes place as follows. Children who do a job or a hobby just to have fun and learn without any purpose actually lay this foundation without realizing it. Everything you learn before starting a project is actually a feature you will use for that project, and to have a circle. A good project is launched with a good team. No matter how much we learn, human perception improves to some extent. At some points, different perceptions can be so life-saving that your project can suddenly turn into something completely different. Let me explain this with an example. You are very good at making music, but you are just as bad at painting. No matter how practical and demanding these two branches are, talent comes into play at some point. First of all, it is necessary to accept that. Not everyone is capable of everything. It is normal to be unable to do some things, especially when there are so many things to do. Therefore, the perception of someone who is good at painting but not good at music will contribute a lot to your perception. People do not actually lay these necessary foundations because they are necessary. They lay them because they want to. Their requirements arise in the project creation part. In this part, people create a purpose, and they put anything they will use for that purpose on the table. The important point is how full this table is. If what you have acquired from your environment and what you have put yourself is enough to start the project, it means that an adventure begins. The next process is through production and learning. While production is very important for stability of the project, looking at something you produce will also satisfy your ego. This means that you will take more confident steps. Education should never stop. This is true at every stage of life. Stopping learning means letting go of the project. Development should never stop. It is something contrary to human life. The real fun starts now. Did the project succeed or fail? The reason why this part is enjoyable is because it remains unclear. Because even if you do everything right, you can fail. And you can be successful even if you do everything wrong. The world is like that. So, the thing that makes this project sweet in the whole process up to this point is its curiosity. What can be done after success or failure varies, something that completely depends on the character of the character. Everyone's life is a project and everyone is struggling to design, develop and present their own project. Investing in yourself is an investment in your life project, and a good investment will never let you down. My name is Kuyasinet. If you like my video, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.